Over the past years, I see more and more cases of clients who suffer from food addictions, sometimes without them even knowing it. I want to share with you the causes, the signs, and the symptoms of food addiction and the impact food addictions can bring to your body. I want to also help you with steps to overcome. Let's go. You may be suffering from a food addiction if you have a constant obsession with what to eat, when to eat, and how to get more food. Some typical symptoms include overeating behaviors, hiding and hoarding foods, secretive behaviors, and the inability to stop overeating or continued eating, even to the point where it makes you sick. One of the reasons why we are so addicted to food is because certain foods trigger the brain to release this feel-good neurotransmitter called dopamine. These secretions often reinforce behaviors. The brain and body love dopamine, so it drives us to eat more, even when the food item might be very unhealthy for us otherwise. This cascade is really how we develop habits and addictions around certain food choices. Just so you know, so you can watch out for it, the most addictive foods are pizza, chocolate, chips, cookies, ice cream, French fries, cheeseburgers, and regular soda. People suffering from food addiction are generally more likely to struggle with other substance-related disorders, unlike specific eating disorders like anorexia and bulimia. Even though food addictions seem to be similar to binge eating, food addictions are more related to eating patterns and the pleasure and reward system. It's difficult to pinpoint one specific cause of food addictions because there are so many unique situations of people suffering from it. Yet it all comes back to that psychological and emotional addiction to specific foods and drinks because food activates that taste, reward, and pleasurable regions of your brain. Like I mentioned earlier, the process is different for everyone, but being addicted to food can arise from a whole bunch of different reasons like genetic, hormonal, emotional, trauma, stress, early life experiences, and simply metabolic responses to these addictive foods. Research shows that food addiction can even be related to your brain-gut microbiome, which can be impacted by not just the food that you're eating in this moment, but also due to adverse early life events like lack of proper nutrition, stress, and trauma when you were a kid. Before moving forward with the impact it may have on your health, I want to emphasize that food addiction is a really complex mental health issue that can have serious complications if left untreated. I highly recommend that professional help be sought to effectively heal from this disorder. Because if food addiction is left ignored or untreated, it can rapidly begin consuming your life, creating damaging and chronic symptoms. Food addiction can also result in many negative physical consequences on the body as the excess of food is consumed. So some of the physical damages it can cause are heart disease, diabetes. We talked about obesity, chronic pain, reduced sex drive, and kidney and liver disease. These physical consequences are far from the only impact food addiction can have on you. An addiction to food can be debilitating to mental health, especially if there's a lack of support or inadequate help. Some of the physiological effects can be low self-esteem, depression. You could experience panic attacks and just feeling sad in general. Finally, food addiction can have a significant impact on your social life and even your relationships. So it's important to recognize the symptoms of food addiction and then take action on the first steps to create and reinforce healthier habits. This will be your path to a healthier lifestyle. And number 1, notice people, places, and things that trigger unhealthy behaviors. Awareness is the first key to overcoming. Number 2, pay attention to when you are experiencing HALT. H stands for hungry, A is for angry, L is for lonely, and T is for tired. These emotional states specifically can lead you to fall into old habits and self-soothing with food. Number 3, the time you are most likely to have the strongest cravings is at the end of the day. So I want you to develop a routine for this time specifically that helps you stay on track. Number 4, make a list of your specific high-risk places, for example, social gatherings. These gatherings can be difficult or uncomfortable to say no to specific foods. This list helps you find creative ways to stay aligned with your values and your goals. Number 5, and importantly, ask for help and enlist an accountability friend to contact when you're struggling. Number 6, watch your negative thoughts because they will influence your behaviors. Number 7, practice self-care. By reducing your stress levels, you're much more likely to reach your goals. I urge you to implement some of these 7 tips into your routine, and you'll see that you'll become another person over time. All lifestyle changes start with little adjustments and the implementation of small habits. Over time, the impact of these small habits compound and deliver incredible results. If you feel like you need support in helping to overcome food addiction and old habits and behaviors that don't serve you, I want you to reach out to PhD. We'll schedule you to have a call with one of our nutritionists, and we'll come up with a customized plan that will help to support all of your needs and help you to establish new habits and behaviors that will allow you to drop the weight and keep it off for good. I have a client, Donna, who came in and she was a retired nurse. She had pain in her knees and knew that surgery was coming up if she didn't drop the weight and get the excess weight off of her frame. But the biggest reason she came in is because she felt out of control for her food choices. She was addicted to sugar and just couldn't say no and hated the way that it felt. She was over it. She came in, we created a customized plan for her. We supported her and held her hand and had weekly one-on-one coaching and accountability with her. I'm happy to say that Donna dropped 45 pounds in a very short period of time, but most importantly, she now feels in control of her food choices and has no knee pain and no need for surgery. Now that we have the right habits in place, I want to come back to the impact of the important hormone we discussed earlier in this video, dopamine. We all tend to forget that you and I can generate dopamine in a healthy way and in ways that aren't correlated to food. The trick is to establish these as new patterns and become addicted to what benefits your body, not just immediately, but for the long term in the same way as the above 7 tips will do. The most important ones are exercise, getting enough good sleep, listening to music, meditation, sunlight, and just in general, get outside, good relationships, and intimacy. Ultimately, enjoying and savoring food through healthy habits is a key goal of any weight loss program. Remember that weight gain and loss is not so much about how much you eat or attempting to achieve the elusive goal of eating everything in moderation. It's about recognizing the mindset, your thoughts, emotions, the trauma, and stories behind your struggles, and then figuring out which foods you eat that you're addicted to. Food holds a large place in all of our lives because it's layered with memories, emotional experiences, relational patterns, and cultural traditions. As you continue exploring your own patterns and habits around food, I want you to examine the ways you use food to meet certain emotional and social needs. Become aware of how different foods or food behaviors affect your mood, how you're influenced by outside cues, and whether those cues involve any strong emotions. Breaking addictions, I get it, is uncomfortable, but there's no way around it. Attempting to do so will likely be met with a lot of emotions you don't expect to arise and don't want to face. However, if you've made the decision to change, you have taken a courageous first step, and there's no way out but through. There are also a lot of support groups that you can become involved with, like Food Addictions Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous, Food Addicts in Recovery Anonymous. At PhD Weight Loss, we recognize that weight loss is an addiction recovery process and a nutritionally sound program that helps to support this recovery process as well. I want to support you as much as possible through this process and know that you're not alone in this. There are millions of others going through the same process as you right now, trying to change their habits and their behaviors. And speaking of behavior, did you know that behavioral change is the secret to weight loss? Here, I'm going to dive deeper into healthy habits and which ones you can start to implement for your healthy lifestyle. See you there.